Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. How is it going with the event? I hope that you are enjoying and that your learning experience is great so far. Today, we are going to present developing enterprise mobile applications with Xamarin and .NET. I hope that you enjoy this presentation and that you find it interesting, and hopefully you will learn new things. My name is Luis Beltran. I am a Mexican currently living in Czech Republic because I am studying my PhD in artificial intelligence. I'm also a Microsoft MVP in AI and developer technologies. I enjoy talking about mobile applications development, cloud computing with Azure, and of course, artificial intelligence. You can find me in these networks, on Twitter, on GitHub, and also on LinkedIn. When this presentation finishes, I will upload the code of this session into GitHub. So yeah, you can take a look a bit later. So let's get started. Please, if you have any questions, just let me know. You can post them on the chat, and I will do my best to answer them as soon as I see them. Okay, so in this session, several topics will be covered. Of course, the main one or the base one is Xamarin for cross-platform development. Later, we will talk about some other services that we are going to integrate in this mobile application. Okay, so most probably you have seen this slide across some of the presentations, or you are aware that .NET is quite a powerful platform that you can use to build whatever you want. You can create desktop applications under the WPF or WinForms umbrella. You can develop applications that are available on a network, on internet, such as web applications with ASP.NET Core, for instance. Of course, you can take your application, web application, and deploy it on the cloud with Azure, or even with other clouds or environments. You can also use .NET to develop video games with Unity and C#, IoT applications, and of course, artificial intelligence with ML.NET. But today we are going to focus our attention in mobile applications using, of course, .NET. And Xamarin is the name of the platform that you can use to create this kind of applications. In the morning, there was a session about Xamarin. So yeah, I will not go into details at all, but I will give you the basics about Xamarin. First of all, it is important to mention that this platform follows the same path as many other Microsoft products, services, or technologies in general. Xamarin is an open source application platform. You can go to GitHub and see what is happening in the development of this technology. You can see the roadmap. take a look at the issues that need to be fixed. You can even take the repository and fork it and have a local version and start modifying it. So this application platform from Microsoft, you can use it to create applications that you can deploy in different environments, in different systems, such as Android, iOS devices, Mac OS devices, and even smartwatches. These applications will be native, will be modern, and performant. The best of all is that you can use your .NET knowledge. So you can use either C# or F# to write mobile applications with Xamarin. And one of the specific things that you can do is known as Xamarin.Forms. Xamarin.Forms is a mobile user interface framework, of course, based on Xamarin. It's open source, it's a part of Microsoft technology, and is focused on the development of iOS, Android, and why not, Windows applications using .NET, but the main advantage is that you create this application on the cross-platform code base. It means that you have a project which is shared, which is referenced by platform-specific projects. You will see in a second when I show the architecture of the application that it's for the demo. Basically, the idea of Xamarin.Forms is that you write the code once and you can deploy it on different type of devices or operating systems. So yeah, actually, yeah, this is the slide that explains this. You can create your business logic, you can connect to services, you can write business logic or calculations code in a .NET standard project. This project then will be, let's say, will produce a library which is used by a iOS project, Android project, or Windows 10 project, UWP project. Everything is written on .NET language, such as C#, and you can use some other libraries which can enhance your experience or your developer experience, such as Xamarin Essentials. Of course, you can also write user interface code using XAML or even C# language once in the .NET shared project, .NET standard shared project. And if you want to customize it, you would like to write platform-specific code for an activity or to create a different button in Android, you can do it using custom renderers, which means that you can write code in the Android project to modify the appearance or even the behavior if you would like to do it. So maybe around 80, 90, or even 100% of the code you write it in the shared C# project. And the effort to write code in specific platforms is minimum. It's the aim of Xamarin.Forms is productivity. So you can create code faster, which is native, and you can deploy it also in no time on different platforms. That's the idea. Okay. Yes, and of course you have the user interface that you can write, as I said, in XAML language or in C#, only once. And yeah, basically around Xamarin, yeah, we can talk a lot about it. We can say many things. But yeah, I will show this in the demo rather than just theory. I will just finish the Xamarin part by saying that nowadays the platform is stable, even though there will be a major upgrade in November when MAUI arrives. But it's so stable that we focus now on the design or building beautiful user interfaces. You can take some inspiration from projects from the community. One good resource is known as Good Looking UI, Xamarin.Forms, which is a repository, let's say, compiled by Javier Suarez Ruiz, who works for Microsoft, and many developers, many designers share their creations or their designs with the community. You can see the source code of these creations, of these designs. So yeah, this is the link to check this out. And maybe you can try to replicate some of the, let's say, timeline or some design or some fonts that you see there. So this is a good, let's say, link to check later for creating beautiful user interface applications. So yeah, let's take a look at the project that we are going to showcase in this session. So let's go here. Okay. So I have my application in another computer. Give me a second while it is connecting. Okay. Hopefully network will play along. So let's see. Yeah, it's a bit slow, but sorry about that. Please, if there is any question, just let me know while it is loading this screen, and I will try to answer them the best I can. I'm still having some issues with the network. Okay, this is not good at all. Because yeah, I have a development machine. Okay, yeah, finally, thank you. Okay, so yeah, I am actually compiling it, so it will appear here at some point. I will like you to take a look here at this solution. This solution contains 4 projects. There is this one called Xamarin 365 Demo, which is the shared project where I write, add several files. I have all the contents of my application in this project. Then there is a specific project for Android, for iOS, and for UWP. If I want to add maybe a specific code for Android, I can do it here in the, of course, in the platform specific code. If I want to add images for the Android project, I can do it. If I want to modify the Android manifest, which of course is one of the most important elements in an Android project, I can do it. You can see, let's say, some familiar faces if you have developed Android applications with any language, either Java or maybe Flutter, React Native, or I don't know, whatever. Yeah, you see that some of the names might be familiar for you, such as drivable folder, resources, assets, or of course, main activity. But you see that even though this is an Android project, there is C# code, okay? But in this case, for this project, I did not write any line of platform-specific code. I did everything on the shared project. But yeah, you can, of course, customize it as you wish. The same goes for iOS and for also UWP. But okay, sorry about that. In this project, in this shared project, where I have all the files, classes, and so on, you can see the structure. I add some folders for specific files. Yes, there is one, the entry point of the application is the app.xaml class, which actually contains two elements, a XAML part and a C# file. This C# file defines some code. I add some static variables, some properties, some constructor. In the constructor, I specify what is the first page that should appear at the beginning. And in this case, it's an app shell class. Well, one of the, let's say, latest, or not latest, well, one of the updates in Xamarin.Forms 4, or when Xamarin.Forms 4 was introduced, was the shell. Shell is basically what you see on the right part, this. Some menu, but this menu, hamburger menu or master detail, yeah, or we, but now it is known as flyout, but okay. But you get the idea. This control, this view, shell offers different behaviors, such as you can see this flyout menu where there are some items on the left, and when you click on one, the content or the details is updated. So, for instance, here I click on reviews. Yeah, I see different page. I will explain, of course, that later. This is different content for second option, and this for login, also different view. Also, the shell can behave as tabs, so some tabs can appear here instead of the menu. So it offers navigation. This shell is quite easy to create, or there is simple code. Basically, you can define flyout items, which are the ones that you see here, and then you specify what content you want to display when this let's say flyout item is clicked. For instance, I have a page called Login 365 View, which I have here under Views folder. There is reviews and there is a student, and of course they also appear in this menu. There is reviews, there is a student, there is a title, there is an icon. So you get the idea. It's quite simple. This is XAML language, of course, for the ones who see this technology for the first time. Then, of course, there is also some behavior. In this case, I am using design pattern known as MVVM, Model View View Model. Basically, we have three main elements: the models, which are classes that determine the content that later we would like to display on the screen. So, for instance, yeah, just give me a second because my computer is a bit slow. I already click on these models, but okay. So there is models, there is view model, there is view. Views is the user interface, basically what you see on the right section. For instance, in the login 365, yeah, you will see that there is a button, but okay, yeah. Sorry about the delay of this technology because, yeah, my network, it seems that it's a bit slow. Yeah, so hopefully it will appear soon. But okay, on the views, there is the user interface. In view models, we define behavior, basically. For instance, I can write business logic code there to connect to services, to interact or build the interaction between models and also views. The views will display, let's say, a list of students, a list of reviews, and in the view model, okay, now finally, thank you. In the view model, I write the code to get the information from some service. So in the model, of course, you can see there is a class review, which has ID, customer, text, property. This is basically what you know in other, let's say, developments as DTOs, data transfer objects, or you can take them from your maybe they can model your database. So okay, you can see on this reviews page, for instance, that I am displaying here a list of uh, product opinions or reviews by some customers. So you can see that each item of this list contains some of these elements. So for instance, there is a customer name here. There is a text, okay, the text of the opinion or the review, sorry. The rating, which you can see as these stars, and also some sentiment score, which at the moment is 0. Okay, so yeah, how I, let's say, pass from the model to the view? Well, there is, for instance, view model, review model. And I have one, let's say, property, reviews, which is an instance of an observable collection. Observable collection is basically, let's say, a list, a collection, a set of items which implements property, sorry, an interface. I notify property change, which is quite important in the MVVM world because when I, let's say, obtain the data, when this reviews property is updated, if there is a binding on the view, it will update the view. But yeah, you can see actually in the constructor here that I have a method, getData. And this getData method populates the reviews property with the result of calling a service getReviews. This service is just for demo purposes because actually these reviews are in memory, I mean hard coded. You will see in a second. But this is just an example because I can obtain this maybe from an API call or from a file or from any other place. So yeah, you can see here actually this is the data that it is being displayed on this screen. There are some customer names, there are some ratings, and for instance, you can see this is 4 and there are 4 stars. In the next review, the rating is 2 and there are 2 stars and so on. I will show you in a second how this is created. And of course, the text. So, okay, this service is called on the view model, yes, and this reviews property appears here on the reviews view. You will see there is a control which is known as collection view. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, collection view. It's evolution of list view. Basically, is used to display a set of items, which might have the same template or not, because you can have, let's say, different templates with a selector. Okay, but you see a property, item source. Item source indicates what is the, let's say, what is the collection of items that are going to be displayed. Okay, so you can see the reviews property here. And inside the template defines the appearance of each item. On each item, I define some structure, visual structure, and you see, for instance, there is a label that displays the text at in the first position. So the text is actually the review, and you can see it here in purple color or violet, actually. Then you can see the customer name here with the text review by and yeah, the customer, and so on. Here I am actually using the properties from the model. So you see the connection. The model defines the properties. The view model connects with services, obtain the data, and the view displays the information. So you see more or less the connection. And of course, I told you, well, what happens with the rating? Well, for the rating, it's a number, but how can I convert it to, let's say, images? Well, in this case, I am using something called converter. Basically, this converter allows me to transform, let's say, some variable from one type into something different, something what is expected. So yeah, I lost the connectivity with my computer. Yeah, this happens. Sorry about that. So yeah, in the converter, you will see in a second. It's C# code actually. The score, it's an integer, okay? And the image, of course, expects some some path, let's say, to display an image or not. So, okay, just a second. Actually, there are two images. There is a star with yellow color, and there is a transparent star. Okay. So you see, the image has a source, either yellow star or transparent star. And how can I define which image should be displayed? I do it with the rating. And I have this rating converter. If the rating, if the star, because I send a parameter, is less than the rating, then I display the yellow star. Otherwise, the transparent one. And for each image, because I can show 5 stars at maximum in here, I am passing this parameter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the first case, for instance, the score is 4. So since 1, 2, 3, or 4 are less than or equal than the rating, the yellow star is selected. And the 5th one is not, because this condition is not met. Okay? So, okay, basically, or more or less, this is some Xamarin introduction. I hope that you get the idea. Of course, later, when you download this project from my GitHub repository, you can take a look on your own. And of course, if you have questions, just find me on Twitter, send an email. Yeah, I will try to help. All right, so we will come back to this application later because we are going to integrate some services. But yeah, and the same can be said about the other views, such as the student one or the login. There are some view elements. There is also a view model. So yeah, we will show them a bit later. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. Next up is the Graph API and Office 365 integration that we can perform in some applications. So you might have heard about Microsoft 365 platform. Most probably, we use it every day. If you create a PowerPoint presentation using the Office 365 website, if you share a file on OneDrive or something even easier, something that you are doing right now, if you are using Microsoft Teams, you are a Microsoft 365 user, platform user. So everything, every data that is created or exposed in these services, we can obtain it, we can interact with this data in our applications. And the best part is that there is a unified API or set of, let's say, yeah, you can call it API or service, which gathers everything. And this is known as Microsoft Graph. In the past, if you wanted to, let's say, upload a file on OneDrive, you would have used some specific SDK or a specific endpoint, which would be different for Teams, for Skype for Business, for even, let's say, creating an Office 365 document. If you want to post some message on Teams or even create a site on SharePoint, now you can do it very easily with Microsoft Graph. And every data, as I said, that you create here, you can later obtain it on a mobile application or desktop application, web application, whatever you want. You can build an experience. You can integrate what your users are creating in your own applications to enhance the experiences. So, as I said, the Microsoft Cloud can be linked using this endpoint, this single endpoint for everything. You use graph.microsoft.com and then go to a specific, let's say, calendar service to obtain the events that have been created in your calendar. You can send an email or obtain the list of emails. You can create a task. You can upload a file in OneDrive. You can chat or create a channel on Microsoft Teams from your mobile application. Later, we will see that instead of, let's say, sending a request to this endpoint, we can even simplify the activity by using or integrating an SDK, a NuGet package. But as I said, there is just this single endpoint to do everything you want. But of course, you don't want your users to have all rights or to do everything. There should be some way to authenticate, some way to get permissions from the users, because, well, each user in your enterprise, or even us, for instance, we have our, let's say, OneDrive workspace. We don't want anyone to just upload whatever they want in our own OneDrive. Or if I am a mobile application user, I should give some permission for this application to interact with my workspace, which is kind of similar to what you encounter when you download a mobile application. You can see that a mobile application asks you for some permissions. Okay, this application will use your GPS, will take a look at your contact list, and so on. Well, with Microsoft Graph, you also have the same user experience. When you want to authenticate to the Office or Microsoft 365 platform for the first time, the user will be prompted to either accept or reject the application, because they will see what permissions or what this application needs to work. So, for instance, in this case, this application reads data from the directory and also can read your profile and, of course, sign in. The user can say, okay, yes, go ahead, or no. One important thing is that this flow, I mean, this picture, this image that you can see on the right, we as mobile developers, we did not create it. Actually, Microsoft did. Because when they are prompted for their credentials, and let's say an endpoint, secure endpoint appears. Actually, a web browser is, let's say, launched, and the user can see that it is Microsoft on behalf of our application that is asking for the credentials. It is not us as developer. It is not our application. Our application will not store user credentials. There will be no trust, or it won't be so trustful to have an application that asks you, let's say, inside the application, okay, please give me your username and your password of your Office 365 account. No, but if Microsoft does it, well, we know that it is, let's say, we can build some trust, or our users will be more confident to authenticate, because it's Microsoft who is asking, not us. When this, let's say, authentication finishes, we developers or our application gets a token, and the result of this permission acceptance or not. And everything is under a secure environment. How can we have our mobile application to get this kind of, let's say, flow, authentication flow? Well, we have to go to the Azure Active Directory and register our application. So actually, I can show you. Yeah, we can start moving, because yeah, time is running. So here you can see my Azure Active Directory portal, and under app registrations, I have a couple of applications. You can create one, you can create new registration, But in this case, because of time constraints, I will not. I will just show you what I did. So I created this application. I also have to define what type of redirection URIs want to include in my application. In this case, for mobile applications, I have this URI, MS authentications, and then the name. So yeah, the name of my mobile application. This is important. Okay, Xamarin 365 demo. I can find this name on my package. Actually, this is the package name, correct? And okay, what else? Also, I have to ask for some permissions. So there is API permissions, and you can see that Microsoft Graph is mentioned. I can add a permission, and then let's say, yeah, what am I going to ask for the user? Okay, this application will, for instance, write and read in OneDrive. This is the part, files, read, write. This application will also allow you to write messages on Teams. This is a combination of group, read, write all, team, read, basic, all, and directory, read, write, all. You need these three to post a message on a Teams channel. And also this one, channel message send. So I can add, I can remove permissions. Yeah, there are a lot of things that I can do. When I finish, let's say, registering this application, I will get an application ID. And yeah, basically this. So this application ID, I can use it on my mobile application. I can register it. It's in Constance. Yeah, here. No, it's in this one. So, yeah, this you can see the application ID. This one, 9BAC, and also my redirect URI, which has to agree with the package name. In this case, for the Android, for instance. Yes, and also I have the scopes that I have on the on Azure Active Directory defined. So yeah, you see that I am starting to gather or connecting what I have on Azure Active Directory to my mobile application. Okay. What else? So after I do this, then I go to my mobile application, I install a package, and then I design my application. Of course, I have already created it. There is a package or Nugget package, which is Microsoft.graph, which of course is already installed here. Give me a second. Under dependencies, packages. Yeah, you can see Microsoft.graph. After that, I can write some code, and this single line pca.getAccounts async, and of course this one launches the web page to ask the user for their credentials. So I have this line on the login page. Give me a second to open it. You can see. Yeah, okay. I have it. Yeah, on app.xaml.c#. Sorry. Yeah, I have the sign-in method here. Yeah, you see the line pca.getAccounts async. So actually, if I go to login, I click on this button. This is what will happen. I will be prompted to enter my username and password. Well, in this case, I have this one, let's say, already stored. So yeah, okay, not sure. Okay, yes, you see, HTTPS login.microsoft.online. Yeah. So the user knows that is Microsoft who is asking for the credentials. In this case, as I said, it will not ask me for mine because I have already here, so I will just select it. You will also not see that this application asks for some permissions, but it will just show, okay, you want to sign in on this application. Are you sure? Yes or not? I already gave permissions, so I will say, okay, continue. Yes. But you will see immediately that some information appears from my profile. You will see in a second. It's a bit slow for some reason, but you will see my name, email account, yes, and some profile picture. So you see, this information was gotten after the token and also, yeah, this part. There is a graph client. There is this method, get user info. So I got username, photo, and email. And everything is from the graph because this user was something that I got after the successful sign in. With very few lines of code, you have an integration or authentication to Microsoft 365 services. So it's quite useful, but this is not all. I also have a second, let's say, functionality. In this case, I am displaying a list of students. And I have some methods to create an Excel file, which I will explore in the next section. But for this part, on the view model, students, this view, there is a, sorry, this view model. There is a method called upload file to OneDrive. And again, I am using the Microsoft 365, the graph library with just one line of code. Graph client, me represents the signed in user. So, okay, so drive is one drive. On the root folder, this file, of course, I create the file locally. The content, upload it or put it on the OneDrive. So I will do it. I click on the export and upload, and all the information that I get from this OneDrive element that is uploaded will be displayed here. There is a drive item element. You will see in a second. It's taking a bit of time, but yeah, you see, there is a new file in my OneDrive. We will check in a second. 93e1f.xlsx. Uploaded right now, and this is an URL for this file. Okay, so is that true? Let's take a look at my OneDrive, which is here. Okay, I will refresh this page. And if you remember, it starts with 93A something here. Yes, about 1 minute ago, this file was created. And if I open it, you will see the list of students that I have on my mobile application. Just a second, it's a bit slow. Yeah, you see the information is there, right? Yeah, of course, I needed some lines of code to create the Excel file, but for uploading it to OneDrive, it was just one line of code. I need to be signed in before, of course, and just some final thing that I did also with the Graph API. As soon as this file was uploaded to OneDrive, I also posted a message here. This message at this time for 44. Of course, this also is a timer for me. This message was posted. For this one, more lines of code were required, but not complicated. This is the send message method, actually. You see that I access to the teams, let's say, join teams that this user has. Then I access, okay, the first team, the first channel, which is the general channel, and then I build a message, chat message, and I post this information. Your file is available at this location, and there is an add async method. Everything under a single, let's say, library. Okay. So yeah, you can explore it. You can check it later with some detail. Okay, so we already saw this, the user experience. We already explored the Microsoft Graph. And just to conclude, because yeah, maybe we have 5 minutes or something. To create the Excel file, I use another library, which is OpenXML. OpenXML is the format that since 2007, Office documents follow, or is the format adopted by these documents. Maybe you remember that until 2003, there was doc file, XLS file, and that's it. But now there was XXX. And why is X? Because it's based on XML. Actually, if you have, for instance, a PowerPoint presentation, and if you convert it to a zip file, you will be able to see a list of XML elements. And each XML contains some information, and you can find some data there, some bullet points, for instance, or some links. You will see some structure. Okay, so the zip file contains these folders. There is PPT. PPT has these elements. There is a slide folder, and each slide is an XML file. So when this was created, also a library was, let's say, created, open source library to interact with these files, which is the XML SDK. So you can create Office documents, PowerPoint, Word, Excel with this library. Fortunately, it supports .NET standard, which means that Xamarin mobile applications are also supported. But .NET Framework, .NET Core, of course, it's also part of the, let's say, target of this library. This is the code to create a Word document. Maybe, yeah, it's many lines of code just to add some message, hello world, but you can see, or maybe this is a bit obvious, no? Of course, there is a paragraph, and it can be justified to the center. There is a document, there is a body. For Excel, yeah, it's also several lines of code, but this is actually the code that I use to create the list of files that you saw in OneDrive. In this case, actually, I have that code under Excel service. Yes. So you see Excel service and create Excel file, insert data in Excel. I actually, if I had the Excel mobile application installed in this emulator, I can open it. I have actually in my view models, I have the code commented, the launch code. Yeah, here. I could open it if I have Excel installed, but in this case, in this emulator, I don't have it. But I can immediately open it very easily with launcher. from Xamarin Essentials. But yeah, I create this Excel file. Okay, so I just show you how can we create this. Yes, and finally, just to conclude, I also added some AI capabilities. In this case, well, maybe you have heard about cognitive services, which is a suite of machine learning pre-trained models from Microsoft. There are several categories. There are several, let's say, power-ups that you can add to your application, not only mobile, but to any kind of application. It can be consumed by .NET applications or any other language, PHP, Java, whatever you want. And there are different categories. You can create, for instance, an application that submits a photo and then a description of what is inside the photo. What is inside the photo? Because there is computer vision cognitive service. Or you can detect the text on a photo. You can create applications that speak to your users or that transform the text into audio or audio into text. Yeah. You can also create bots. It's quite powerful. So yeah, it can be applied to real world scenarios. Yes. So the idea is that even if you are not machine learning expert or you don't have any expertise in AI or machine learning, you can immediately use these services. Why? Because they are exposed as APIs or SDKs. And we can just prepare, let's say, HTTP request, send the data, and obtain a result. And this is actually what I do in this application. I use the text analytics service to detect the sentiment of some text, if it is positive or negative, and also to detect the language. And you can create these services on Azure. They have a pricing tier, and it's quite easy to start with them. And in this case, yeah, I think. Okay, let me just. This is the final part of the demo. I have this part on the reviews. There is analyze products, and while it is working, you will see that the language and the analyze score will be populated. So, for instance, I hope my Italian pronunciation is good. Penso che il tuo prodotto sia fantastico. Okay, I hope I pronounce it okay. So it was detected as Italian, and the analysis score is 100%, which means that it is quite positive. This one, it was quite expensive, has a negative connotation, and it's in English. This one, of course, it's in Spanish, the third one, and it was detected. And how this, let's say, works? Well, I have the reviews view model, which calls an analyze text service that I created. Here, I have this text analytics service. And in this text analytics service, I am calling my service, the service. Let me a second. Yeah, I am using an HTTP client. I have an endpoint which I define on the constants part. Yeah, I obtained this endpoint from Microsoft documentation. Yes, but this main base of the endpoint is from Azure. When I create the service on the Azure portal, here, a cognitive service, I get this endpoint and also a key. The key is used for metrics, for usage of the service. Yeah, I have the key here, and this key, I add it to my mobile application. Then I can use it to send requests. And in this case, I have to prepare a JSON. I have to send this data, actually the text, just the text. And with the text, I detect the language. Yes, as you can see. text, then some language is obtained, and after that, the sentiment. Okay, so you can analyze this later. Okay, because we are running out of time. Sorry about that. But I hope that this session was entertaining and also useful for you. But yeah, basically it's just communication with the API. Okay. So basically that will be all from me. Here you have some resources where you can learn about Graph, about Open XML SDK, and also cognitive services. So thank you very much for your time. Share your experience with the hashtag CodeGen2021. Thank you to the organizers for having me. It was a pleasure to be here with you. And please, if you have any questions, just let me know in the chat. Or also, you can contact me later on GitHub, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Thank you for your time. I wish you a great afternoon or morning if you are joining maybe from other countries. And please, if you have any questions, just let me know and I will do my best. Keep enjoying the rest of the event, of course. Okay, so, well, I think there are no questions. Okay, so thank you, everyone, for your time. It was a pleasure to be here. So have a nice day, and thank you to the organizers. Enjoy the event. Goodbye.